One. So thanks to all the past presenters who've done my job already. They've spoken about Facebook. I understood half of the Italian and all of the English. So actually, I'm not going to speak about Facebook. I'm going to speak about you, at least the entrepreneurs in the audience, and how I hopefully can add some value to what you're trying to achieve. My job is fantastic. I get to actually interact with entrepreneurs across all of the Europe, Middle East, and Africa. I get to live vicariously through them as they try to change the world. And I try to be what somebody once called a one-entrepreneur. I haven't actually pulled the trigger and been an entrepreneur myself, but I get to play with them all the time. And so what I figured I'd start with is a bit of a call to arms to the entrepreneurs in the audience. And I'll start with this image, whichever way I have to point. Oh, it's the other one. Which other one? Technical issues. Somebody kept it. Ha! Just give me the next slide when it comes. Actually, he's not there, so he can't do it. Awesome. That's why he gets paid the big bucks. There we go. So I figured this would be an interesting image to portray in an event paid for by the U.S. Embassy. But this actually came from, this was actually given to us at a recent conference called Founders. And it's, I mean, you've probably seen this image. It's an iconic image. It was actually designed by an Italian artist, sorry, by an Irish artist called Michael Lynch. And we were actually given 150 versions of this same image that were a special edition. And so from afar, it looks like the traditional Che Guevara image, you know, the revolutionary that everybody has on their t-shirts when they're college students. When you actually get close to this version of it, though, the Che Guevara image is made up of hundreds and hundreds of small portraits of Steve Jobs. And the notion was, I mean, what he's trying to explain is that revolutionaries come in different guises. And it was important that we all received this at an event that was for 150 startup founders from across Europe. And so when I think about an entrepreneur and what they're trying to be, they're all revolutionaries. They're all trying to change status quo. You are all trying to build new things that will change the way we actually think about the world, interact with the world, learn about the world. If you ask Mark Zuckerberg or Steve Jobs or Larry and Sergey what they are, they will probably identify with this notion of being a revolutionary. So especially in times of economic turmoils, that is the best time to be a revolutionary. That's the best time to try and go build something new, to try and make the world a different place. And what I can offer is a platform to do that. So let me give you a couple examples of revolutionaries that I get to work with. This is Branko. Branko lives in Serbia. And if most of you have been there, it's not exactly the hub of entrepreneurialism in the digital age. So Branko used to work for Microsoft in the Nordics, moved back to Serbia with two of his friends and started up a Facebook game company. It's effectively a team management game. You get to build your football team, you get to play with your friends. But he built a very good Facebook game. So good that it's actually now the world's largest sports game on Facebook with about 4.5 million monthly active users. So Branko from Serbia is now making money in over 140 countries. Making so much money that the 3 Serbians are now 30 Serbians. And that Branko actually was able to say no thank you to a number of VCs who wanted to give him a lot of money. So this revolutionary was able to actually go global based on my platform from his nice house in Serbia. Why not actually go global from Torino or Venice or Florence? So play with Top 11. It's actually quite an interesting game. It takes a bit too much engagement from me, but you get to actually play it with 4.5 million of your friends. This is Daniel Marelly, who is a French hacker who created a music service called Deezer. Everybody would say that effectively a music streaming service was not going to work. Last.fm was already there, had been bought by NBC, and Pandora and Spotify was being born. And yet he actually built a fantastic service that's the leading music service in France and is now going global. And their vision is to actually be the broadest and most globally available music service in the world. They're launching in 140 countries. They're in about 50 today. And the way they're acquiring users is through Facebook. The notion that music is inherently social, the notion that my musical taste is influenced by my friends, and the notion that the best way to acquire a new user when they go into the UK or Germany or Italy is by your friends recommending it. So if you sign up with Facebook, you get access to the premium membership for 3 to 5 months. and you get to invite your friends, and you get to listen to music with your friends, and you get to discover music through your friends. And we're adding about 200,000 new users per week in these 40 countries. So 1 million new users every day. They had 7 million users in France already when they launched. They're now at, I think, 4 million users outside of France directly to Facebook. Who would have thought that a French 20-something-year-old could actually go revolutionize the music industry? This is Alex Young. He's actually a Swedish guy who lives in Berlin. And he's probably the most iconic vision of what this new Berlin is. Berlin, if you haven't read about it or heard about it or seen it in Wired, is becoming this hub of technology innovation, of entrepreneurship in Europe. Not because it was actually a masterful plan by the government, but because it was a cool place to be for people like Alex. Great access to technology, low cost of living, developers from Eastern Europe and Germany and other parts of the world coming there, great raves at night, good single scene. And now it's actually becoming this very, very vibrant place. So Alex and Eric, the two co-founders of SoundCloud, moved from Stockholm to Berlin to go create this company. And they had a crazy vision. They had a vision that sound actually could be shared. And sound could be music, or it could be recordings, or it could be interviews. And the sound had the desire and the need to be social, much like YouTube had actually made video and user-generated content global. And so SoundCloud is doing very well as a platform for your content creators to share and build, to create and share. You can be an electronic DJ and create your latest hit, and you put it there, and you have followers, and they share with their friends, and they comment. Very vibrant connections between people who are consumers and creators of content. To the point that Kleiner Perkins, you could argue one of the leading venture capitalists, if not the leading venture capitalist in the world, just put in $50 million, and Mary Meeker, who is iconic in the internet age, is now on the board. So Alex had to move from his house to a new place to go actually bet on this vision of sound and the power of sound. And by the way that people actually discover their friends and share their friends is through Facebook. Because we lend them a social graph that allows them to very quickly drive those connections once you sign up to the service. And we drive massive distribution to the service directly through the mobile device. So as you're actually checking your Facebook, which 450 million people do on a monthly basis on your phone, and you see that somebody actually posted something from SoundCloud or listened to something from SoundCloud, you can click on it, go directly to either download the app or start playing the app. This is Anne-Marie Huby. She's Belgian. She used to work for Medicines Without Borders. Her objective has always been to do some good for the world. And she's built a technology platform that is actually the largest technology platform for donations in the UK. And we've all, well, many of us hopefully have actually done something like this. Decided that we want to raise some funds for a cause, to memorialize somebody important in our life, to actually have a sense of camaraderie with friends. The problem has always been, how do you tell your friends about it? Email lists are partly efficient. How do I actually collect the money? How do I give the money back to the charity? So that's what Just Giving actually does. Just Giving is a technology platform. It's effectively a SaaS play for donations. And when I decided I'm going to run a marathon on behalf of a charity, I posted to my Facebook wall. And by the way, that's probably the most intimate place where 130 of my friends happen to consume all my content on a daily basis. This is probably the ideal audience for you to go ask money from. So much so that every single post from Just Giving to Facebook generates £5 in donations. Last year alone, Just Giving generated 11 million pounds of donations through Facebook alone, and we're now about 28% of all donations. And they expect that to be 50% by next year, which makes sense. Music is social, as these are proved. Gaming is social, as Zynga and Nordius proves. Giving should be social as well. And so Anne-Marie is actually trying to do her own revolution around social giving, and she's using our platform as a way to actually reach out to your friends and through your friends to do some good for the world. And then now have this beautiful timeline unit in which you can actually track all the things you've done across different charities, different friends you've supported, how much you've donated through their application. Italian, two guys from Italy that happened to move to Chicago and start up a company were trying to be revolutionaries. And yes, I thought I was actually being very smart by highlighting the fact that they were Italian, but obviously all of you already knew that. Glancy, the company that we acquired last week, has 2/3 of the company being Italian. Actually, one of them is actually going to join the same team that I'm in, the Platform Partnerships Organization. Another one's going to go into the engineering group. So great acquisition of some really, really smart Italian entrepreneurs. But the fact that I actually consumed this and discovered this while I was playing around with the Corriere della Sera social reader, which launched a couple of weeks, because friends of mine in Italy had actually read this article, which led me to click on it, and which led me to tell my friends that I was reading on it. So it's ironic that I was actually trying to find an example to show you around social distribution, and that through that I stumbled into a story that was quite relevant for today. So what do I offer you, revolutionaries? I offer you a platform. I offer you 900 million users in the world. Actually, more interestingly, I offer you 500 million daily active users. 500 million daily active people come back to Facebook every day and live out their life on my platform. And they're willing to give you the brand, the startup, the company, their identity and their friendships, and for you in return give something back. And so behind this give and take, there's actually a platform that allows you to build applications, games, giving, social readers, experiences that actually let consume and share content in an easy way. And it all starts with this very private space that's my timeline, which is the place where I actually share content and consume content. It's actually surprising how much media consumption starts from you going to your friend's timeline and then discovering what they listen to, and from there going on to Spotify or Deezer or something else. And inside this timeline, you actually highlight activities that mattered in your life, such as the latest pins that I had on Pinterest, and yes, Evan, I'm actually a fairly active user, or the books that are sitting by my bedside waiting to be read when I have some time, or the songs that I listened to on Spotify in the last month. And this is me curating a social persona for you, my friends, to actually consume it. And this is where the viral spark starts. So you as an entrepreneur should think about how do you leverage this very private place to actually start discovery of content, sharing of content. I'll show you what I call the viral loop. And we can talk about afterwards over the coffee break of how to actually tap into this viral loop. You build an app, you build a website, you have a fantastic idea to go revolutionize the world. Nobody will know it's there. Unless you actually go do some marketing campaign, either on Google or actually billboards in which Casa Dorit actually gets highlighted, nobody will actually know the effort that you've made. There's just too much noise in the internet for you to know. So there's really 3 channels of content for you to discover content. There's either search, organic, or now social, Twitter and us and other mediums. And so through social, as an example of the Corriere della Sera article, I share the article with my friends. I add identity to that app, and I put it into my private place, that's my timeline. On Facebook, my 130 friends get to see it. A percentage of them will actually consume it on the web or on mobile and click back to your app. Success, they've now discovered you. One more user. But the secret to actually making this a closed loop, to actually making it go viral, is ensuring that every new user that comes to your app identifies themselves. And that doesn't mean filling out a form. That means nobody will register. That means actually asking them in a very nice way, will you actually add this application? Will one button, they've passed to you a depth of identity that they would never share with you from Facebook. And you can now actually use that identity to personalize the experience. But more importantly, you now know who they are. And more importantly, now when they consume content, that goes back to Facebook. Their friends see it. They come back. And that's how a Daily Motion or a Guardian or Fab or Pinterest has actually gone viral. By actually closing that loop and understanding that identity is at the core. And that identity should actually lead to consumption in the right medium, and the right medium leads to web or mobile, no matter where the user is. So my request to you is 2 things. 1, be bold and be revolutionary. 2, think about closing the viral loop. And 3, this is actually a poster that we have all over the office. We have a number of sayings that are part of the Facebook culture. We're all about hacking, and hacking is not a bad thing. As I told somebody last night, it's not about breaking into CIA servers. It's about actually iterating quickly and learning from what you're doing. And based on what you learn, going and actually trying something new. We have 2 important sayings that I think drive a lot of the way we think. We're 1% done. Whatever Facebook is today and whatever success it's had, it's only the evolution of where we are into where we're going, and we have no idea yet where the long-term path is. And 2, move fast and break things. Because if you actually don't continuously keep iterating, you actually never could keep on innovating. So thank you to the revolutionaries.